Great day.
Can you talk about what it means to pick up Matt Coleman?
No. Not allowed under the rules.
Let me rephrase this. Can you say what today's news means in terms of just kind of an adrenaline for recruiting? You guys have landed. You landed a super high-profile recruit with Jarrett. You're expected to sign another big-name guard here. Recruiting is trending in a very good direction for you guys. What do you think of the overall state of things right now?
Well, I think, when you're in the early stages of building a program, you want to bring in high-quality people that you feel like can be good players, but also fit in with what you're doing. You do the best you can to know who what's really inside guys. You never know for sure how people are going to respond when they get put under the circumstances that they get put under. But you try to do as much as you can to develop a profile and understand who people are. But I think I'm excited about a lot of the guys that we either have already brought in or that we have coming in for next year. And, we just need to keep building on, again, bringing in people that we feel like can elevate our culture and also go on the floor and make plays together for Texas.
And the three that are signed, you are bringing in guys that are instant contributors, and that's clear with Jarrett, Jacob, Andrew. How important is it to you to find guys that you could feel good about inserting in right away, plugging in?
Well, as you guys know, all that is relative to who you have coming back on your team as well. So, I think if this year's freshmen were freshmen on last year's team, they probably wouldn't have played as much. I think they would have played some. Obviously, Jarrett still would have played a lot. Andrew still would have got good time. But it's all relative to who else you have. What we're trying to do, coming off of our first year where we lost 7 guys, is stabilize a roster from just a class standpoint, and you have to. You have to factor a lot of things in. This is what I was trying to get at a couple weeks ago when you guys were asking me about, point guard and recruiting and those sorts of things, because each class not only impacts, the guys in that class impact each other, but it can impact the class after it. And sometimes you don't know what's going to happen. You don't have a crystal ball, and you have to just do the best you can to project what might happen and work as hard as you can to make what you want to happen.
Shaka, how do players react to recruiting news? Do you find that they're excited when guys want to come here?
Current players?
Yeah. Do they push it aside, or do they?
Well, our guys, typically, most guys make decisions in the off season, whether it's in the fall, which is a lot of guys, or in the spring, like Jarrett did. And then there's some, like Andrew, there's like others that make a decision during the season. I think when it happens in the off season, the players on the team it's more at the front of their mind because maybe the kid just visited recently on an official visit. And right now, I think for our guys, and understandably so, the focus is on we play Baylor tomorrow, and we're trying to get better as a team, and we have practice in an hour. So I think that's where the focus is. But I think there's an understanding on our team, certainly, that we need to get better, and part of that is adding guys to our program that can help us get better from a depth standpoint and also from a positional standpoint.
I was looking here, I haven't seen the AP poll come out. I'm not expecting Baylor to stay #1. Still a very good team. What are your thoughts on what you've seen out of them?
I think they really have the best thing about them is just how well-rounded they are. They're good in a whole lot of different areas. I mean, it's not like you can say, okay, hey, they're only good at this, or if you can take that away. They have a lot of different things they do well. I think they have a really experienced team from the standpoint of guys that have been around and have been through some wars. I think their guards really play within themselves. Their guards are guys that they make the right play at the right time, and they hurt you at critical times with big-time shots, even if they don't necessarily shoot 12, 15 times a game. And then their bigs are as good as any bigs in the league. Motley obviously really hurt us last year in the game here, but he's gotten better and better. I think turned himself obviously into an NBA prospect and a guy that coming from someone who redshirted his first year and now in his fourth year, I think he's a poster child for what you can do if you develop and grow as a player.
When you play last week's #1 and most likely this week's #1 in the same week, is there a mental challenge with your players to get them to, I'm sure when you look at tape, the number doesn't even matter, but is there something with them mentally that you have to get them to say, it's just Baylor, and I know you do that every week?
Well, I think, first of all, it's really important just to focus on one game at a time. So we're just focusing on Baylor, and then, after that we'll focus on the next game. But certainly when you play a team that's highly ranked and has recently been #1, or even West Virginia, who's number 10, you have an awareness of where they are and the type of season they've had, but you still look at what are the things that they do well and what are the things we're going to try to do to be effective on the offensive end and take away what they do well on their offensive end. Obviously with Baylor, for us on offense, the biggest thing is their defense is different with their zone. It's different than anything our guys have seen this year. So finding ways to be aggressive and get the ball inside and move the ball against that zone. They are playing more man-to-man this year than they did last year, but I got a feeling they'll play us a lot of zone. They did last year all 120 minutes. So that's really what we've been focusing mostly on preparing for.
Did you feel like Saturday was a step forward?
Well, in a lot of ways it was. We didn't win the game. So I think if you win that game, then you can definitely say all around, it's a step forward. But we came up 2 points short, and I thought down the stretch the tougher-minded team won. And West Virginia does that to a lot of people. But they, you could just see on their face a level of resolve. And I tell you, I give our guys a lot of credit. They battled and fought, but I think by the end, the last maybe 4 or 5 minutes, we had some guys that fatigue had hit, and we were a little short-handed without having Kendall in there, without having Tevin in there, and a guy like Snoop playing 37 minutes. That's asking a lot.
What is Kendall's status? He's chomping at the bit to get back in.
Yeah, I'm chomping at the bit to get him back in there. I got to get with Leif again today. As of yesterday, he was not practicing. He can shoot. He's doing a little bit of running, but cutting was still not great, particularly in one direction. As of now, I don't anticipate that he'll play tomorrow unless there's some drastic change from yesterday to today or from today to tomorrow.
So realistically, 7-man rotation.
Well, one more thing about Kendall, he's got a high ankle sprain, and I've had a guy with that before. It's one of those things where he's probably not going to be 100% for a long time. So it's a more typical injury in football, just because of guys getting kind of tackled from behind, and it's one of those things you kind of got to grit out and tough out. So he's battling, and hopefully he can come back soon. But yeah, I mean, in terms of our rotation, we'll play the guys we played in the last game. I think, obviously, I think James will be able to play a lot more. He was in foul trouble, and then kind of down the stretch we went with Shaq and Jarrett. And then, we'll see with Mo. I thought he did a good job going in there and spelling Jarrett a little bit. So hopefully we can get him a few more minutes too.
Coach, it seems like the last few weeks y'all have been pressing less, and then against West Virginia it was practically not at all until the very end. Is that something where you're maybe not happy with what you're seeing as far as getting a whole lot of turnovers out of it, or or maybe it's just specific to West Virginia or the last couple of months?
Well, with West Virginia, it was more a depth thing, just because we didn't have a lot of guys, and I didn't want to do anything to wear those guys out even more. And we pressed on a few possessions, three-quarter court, and like you said at the end. But I think we've done some good things in the press. It's just a matter of picking our spots and having an awareness of guys' fatigue level. Snoop was really close to cramping for much of the second half, so we were trying to manage that and just not extend him any further than we had to. But we'll definitely do it again. It's something that I think long term, like really long term, it's something that we're going to utilize quite a bit. And when we have a team that has more depth at a variety of positions, that allows you to do that. And when guys get tired, bring new guys in.
I don't know how much you did yesterday, but how did Shaq respond to 33 minutes, and do you have to watch his minutes tomorrow night? How will you kind of manage that?
Well, he responded pretty well. He's shown some really good resilience. Last year, he would kind of get to a point where he would kind of be worn down, and he really would need a day. And we've picked times to give him a day earlier in the year, when maybe the other guys came in and lifted and got shots and worked on some things. We said, Shaq, you just take the day and relax. Because it's a whole lot different when you're 285 pounds than, if you're a 200-pounder. The way the schedule falls, we played on a Wednesday. You get 2 days to prepare. Play on a Saturday. You get 2 days to prepare. We play on a Tuesday. And then after Tuesday's game, with school starting, we'll have our mandatory off day. So it's more a mental thing than anything, just trying to have yourself in a good place for practice today and then for the game tomorrow. In terms of minutes, I definitely anticipate James will be able to play more than he did. Hopefully he can stay out of foul trouble, and that will give Shaq some more breaks. But Shaq will still play. I'm hopeful that he can play 20-some minutes.
With Malik Isom returning, is there anything specific that you're expecting to get out of him as far as what his skill set is, even though he didn't get a lot of minutes last time?
Best thing he does is shoot on the offensive end. He got a corner three the other day, which is a wide open shot. He should have had another one on a play where one of our guards should have found him. Mo works on the shooting as much or more than anyone, and he's a good shooter. So if we can get those type of shots for him, hopefully he can give us a lift, making some shots, because obviously I think our guys are shooting the ball better lately, but we still definitely could benefit from more shooting. And then just giving us some depth, giving guys a break. Jarrett has played a lot of minutes, and that's a lot to ask of him. So anytime we can give him a break of a minute or two, it's big.
Coach, what's your impression of Andrew Jones and how he's progressing? He had a really nice game.
I think Andrew's learning quite a bit. I think, like any other freshman, he's had some ups and downs this year. Like any other freshman, at times things have been harder than maybe he anticipated. The reality is, for our guys, you talk about our seniors in high school that we signed that'll be freshmen next year. Those guys, they just don't know what they don't know yet. And it's nothing against them. They don't understand. So we actually do something as a staff where we try to hit them with little, whether it's a video or some type of feedback or something going on with our freshmen, we can help them understand, hey, here's what's coming next year. That helps a little, but sometimes it's just going through it. But I think Andrew's really grown in a lot of ways. He's getting better as a defensive player. I think he can be a very good defender as he continues to develop. He's got good size. He's going to be really strong with another year in the weight room. You see a game like the last game, West Virginia, he's not afraid to be assertive. He's aggressive. He'll shoot the ball from outside. He'll attack on the break. Transition is one of the areas that we felt like he was best at when we recruited him. He's still learning now at the college level when to attack the basket or attack the rim or shoot a three as opposed to when to give the ball up. Because in high school and AAU, he was basically unstoppable in transition. Now, with the bigger defenders, sometimes it's a little bit harder, so he needs to know when to give it up. But I think he's learning.